All right, guys, here's chapter 13. The answers have lots of writing, and in an effort to save my hand and be strategic, I'm just going to show you what the answers are on the computer. Some might say that's lazy. I say no. Strategic is the word I'm going to use. Anyway, hope you guys are doing well on this beautiful Friday. That's going to be 90 degrees. So this is the question on chapter 13 that was talking about doing an experiment. And we know it's an experiment because treatments are given. That's what makes an experiment an experiment. Treatments are given. So the first question said, a group of volunteers who work together asked to be assigned to the same program so they can participate in the program together. Give an example of a problem that might arise if this is permitted. And again, the problem there is we have to randomly assign treatments. We can't let people pick their treatments. And then it says to explain to this volunteer group why random assignment of the two programs will be addressed. So the answer is right here. It says that, and they're just giving an example here. You could come up with a different example, but it says a deadline of the department where the group of volunteers has been moved, lowering the stress level for those working in that department. And because they're all in the same department, all of their stress levels would be lowered at the same time. And we wouldn't know if it is because of this thing that's happened in their department or if it's because of the exercises that they were doing. So it says if volunteers in this department were all assigned to the same treatment group, then this change in stress level could be mistakenly be attributed to the treatment. So it wasn't necessarily the exercise they were doing, it was other factors in their lives, right? And if you remember about experiments, one of the things about experiments was control. We wanted to do our best to control all other factors, and the only thing that's different in the individual's lives is the actual factor that you're testing for. Obviously, when you're using human beings, that's super difficult because so many different things are affecting them and affecting stress levels, obviously. So it says, without random assignment, volunteers in the two groups, it's possible for the two treatment groups could differ in some way that affects the outcome of the experiment. Randomization evens out the possible effects of potential confounding variables. So that's why we want to make sure we do that. Hi, Deacon. Hi. Okay, he's probably going to make some noise, but let's keep going here. Someone proposes a control group to be included in the design. The stress level would be measured for each volunteer assigned to the control group at the start. And again, 10 weeks later, what additional information, if any, would this provide of the groups? Well, let's see here. It says, without a control group, the company could compare the two treatment groups, but would not be able to say whether the observed reduction in stress was attributed to participation in the program. For example, a change in the work environment during the period might have reduced the stress level of all employees. The addition of a control group would enable the company to assess the magnitude. What's that? I know that you don't want that. You want me to take it? Deacon is very interesting. We'll give him certain things, like this is dough, and I figured he'd eat it, but he just carries it around. Okay. So why do we have a control group, you guys? We have a control group because we need to see what would happen if nothing happened. We need to see if stress level would go down if nothing happened. Maybe some other variable out in the world occurs and stress levels are going to go down already. We wouldn't know that if we didn't have a control group. So we need to have a control group. Control groups are very, very important. If we don't have a control group, we at least have to have two different treatment groups. That's the other key thing we need here. And the way that they were setting this thing up, there wasn't going to be two separate treatment groups. So there's nothing to compare. And so you really need to have a control group to compare what would happen if, like I said, nothing were to happen. Okay. Part C. Part C says, is it reasonable to generalize the findings of the study to all employees in the company? They gave a couple of different answers for this one. They said it's possible to generalize the findings of the study to all employees because, it's not possible because participants in the experiment were volunteers and volunteers may not represent the population. For sure, people who volunteer maybe have some other reason, some other factor that's causing them to do that. And that might be why their stress level is going down. There might be other things they're doing in their life. Maybe they're eating better. Maybe they're sleeping more. Again, if we don't have a control group, we can't really do anything about that. But you don't want people to volunteer. That's no good. Or it says participants were not randomly selected from the company of employees. That would have been like the answer I would have gone with for sure. You can't generalize it if it's not randomly selected. You have to randomly select it. And you can only generalize it to the population that you are collecting it from. So they took this group of individuals from the population of all employees in the company, so they can generalize it to all employees of the company. Not of every company, not of all the different locations where the company is at, just this location wherever they took the sample from. Okay, that was kind of a long video, but love you guys. And I hope you're having a great Friday, as I said before. And too bad nobody is going to get that nasty little dough ball that's been in my beautiful child's hands. Blech. Do the right thing.